Hey guys, Shamon.
I'm Yolanda. I get to introduce myself.
You do this time. From Harper Therapy.
Yeah.
And we have been and are talking about these relational boot camps, these essential skills workshops.
Transformational.
That we are now offering at Harper Therapy.
Yeah.
And it's based off some pretty big work.
Yeah.
From Terry Real,
Mm-hmm.
who's an author and a really famous therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of the therapist to a lot of stars and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the concepts that is taught in this work that we have been really good at failing at.
Failing at or using?
Using.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we struggle with it, bring it up and it becomes a thing, right?
Oh, yeah, it's a skill. It's one of the skills that we teach in the workshop.
Right. Yeah. But we call it the Great Snicker.
Oh, yes. So
the Great Snicker
Gate
of 2021.
Yes. So have you and your partner, maybe it's just us, but I don't think so because I sit with enough couples to know better.
Right.
We are married. In case you missed that, we've been together for more than 3 decades.
Couple days.
We got married when I was 12.
You keep saying that. That almost makes it sound creepy.
We weren't married when I was 12. So, do you ever have one of those rip-roaring fights that you're like, even in the middle of it, you're like, are we really arguing about this?
Yeah.
Well, welcome to Snicker Gate 2021. Only this was a situation that didn't end up in a rip-roaring fight because...
Actually, yeah, that's true.
Because we are fellow journeyers on this road of relationality and relational recovery.
Right.
And we practice what we preach. And when we don't, our relationship can blow up just like everybody else's.
Absolutely.
But this was a time that it didn't because we put the skill into practice.
That's true.
Yeah?
That's true. So I guess I was wrong when I called it a fail. I guess we struggled and then we put this into place.
But
and
that's the thing. It's not like relationships are never going to have conflict and never going to have these heated moments. It's like, what do we do when we're in the middle of it?
Absolutely.
And this is a tool that we pull into our relationship when that happens. So
to tell the story, we love to hike and camp and get out, and it's kind of our getaway. Yeah. And after you do a big long hike, I think this particular hike was like 13 miles or something like that.
It was a full day of
Full day of hiking. Yeah. We tend to celebrate with a Snickers bar.
Yeah.
And we got home really late. We had hiked all day.
On this
particular hike. We got home really late. And we ate a late dinner by the time I got home and got cleaned up and everything.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm done.
I'm going to bed.
Good night.
That's what she did. So I was like, well, I'm having my Snickers bar. Because
that's what you do.
That's what I do.
Except
the next morning,
I went to throw something away and I looked in the trash can and I saw the Snickers wrapper in the trash can. And I immediately internally was like, what the heck?
You'd have thought I cheated on her or something. I don't know.
You did. So we talk about like recognizing these patterns and when we're in these old patterns, and we call that the whoosh. Right. That was my whoosh. I was like, oh my gosh.
Right. How could he?
He ate the Snickers bar and without me. It did feel kind of like a betrayal. So, because I didn't realize until we went through this how meaningful that was to me. So we have been practicing this long enough that I recognize that as my whoosh. And when I'm in my whoosh, I know, do not engage, take a step back, take a breath, get a better understanding of what's going on. And by doing that, then I was able to actually come back, and instead of like accusing and throwing stuff.
You always this, that,
all of that typical old pattern that we can get into,
and then force me to respond. And
you're like, what's wrong with you? You're so dramatic. It's just a Snickers bar. So we implemented the feedback wheel.
Right.
And that is a 4-step process. It really breaks down to 4 steps, and those are step one, the data, like just the facts, without interpretation. So when I saw the Snickers bar wrapper in the trash can,
you knew someone ate a Snickers bar.
When I saw that. And then the second one, the second step in the feedback wheel process is to get clear about my thoughts about it. So what is the meaning that I'm making about the Snickers bar wrapper being in the trash can? Like, what story am I making up about that? Right? What I made up was that you didn't care about
Right. I didn't value our ritual of doing this thing together.
But that's totally a narrative. Every narrative is a construct, and that was totally just what my brain was making meaning about the thing.
Right.
And then the next step is the emotions that are attached to that narrative, to that meaning, right? Because I make myself feel a certain way when I put a specific narrative. It could have been a totally different narrative, and I wouldn't have the same emotions. Right? But because it was that specific narrative, I was hurt, I felt betrayed, I was angry. Of course, anger for most of us is like the primary thing, and so it took me a little while to explore some of the emotions underneath that. So like how I felt about my interpretation of what was going on. And then the request. Like what is my ask in this? And it was like, hey, can we talk through the hike? Because it's like our debriefing. It's like hikes are symbolic for us. Like the struggles and the triumphs of hiking kind of replicate the struggles and the triumphs of life. And so it's like, do you remember that part that felt like we were climbing like this? And do you remember how you told those people that they were really close to the turnaround point, but really they had 2 more miles to go, and you lied to them?
It's all relative.
So the feedback wheel is an opportunity for each of us to kind of get a better understanding of these things, to get a better understanding of what would feel good on the flip side of this moment of fracture or disrepair. And it's a tool for repair.
Absolutely. It's a cool tool for repair, and repair is where you're trying to get, right?
Yeah.
And the great thing is like that feedback wheel saved our marriage from ending over a Snickers bar.
It probably wouldn't have ended, but it would not have been fun.
Right. But it is a huge example of how quickly we escalate things.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, and the importance we attach to things that other people may not recognize.
Yeah, and here's the thing. That saved that day from going downhill, because if we had interacted in our own old patterns, then it would have been like a lousy day.
A catastrophe.
It wouldn't have been fun, and we were able to connect.
So, this is one of the skills that we really work through. In our boot camp, our Essential Skills Workshop. That you can find more information on the link in here. I keep pointing down. I guess the link is down. It's up. I don't know. We'll put it somewhere.
But don't wait to register. Because we do limit the number of spaces so that you and your partner, or you by yourself, because certainly and couples are welcome, individuals are welcome, couples at any stage in relationship, no matter your marital status, no matter sexual orientation, everyone is welcome, and we want to make sure that we keep the number limited so that we can create an environment to do this work.
Absolutely.
So join us.
Bye, guys.